Good evening. Good evening. Hope you guys are doing good. It is Monday, so hope your weekend was good wherever it is. I think 80% of the United States just had a snowstorm or an ice storm, amongst the other things that are going on in the US. But we are definitely back for another conversation that you guys need to hear. A lot of people put 2026 as the day, the year, the month, the time frame that they were going to move abroad. But as you know, there are a lot of steps. If you have already started to take them, there are a lot of steps when looking to move abroad and sifting through the information that is actually helpful to you outside of the foundational things. Where am I going? Where am I going to stay? How much does it cost? I think those things are at the top of a lot of people's thought process when looking at relocation. However, what I'm realizing is that so many people have not examined the other nuances, and there is a lot of information. There are a lot of relocation influencers or people that are essentially putting yourself in a scenario where they're going to help you move abroad with the content that they're creating, the reels, the TikTok, the YouTube, and it's a lot. I get it on you, the person that's looking to move abroad. So before we get too deep, if you are looking to move abroad, stay right here. If you are in a position to know someone that also is looking to move abroad, what I need you to do is share this, because a lot of people are going to go make this move and book their ticket and not have this conversation. This conversation is important because the more I see in the travel groups, the I want to move abroad groups, and the information that is coming out, I want to have conversations that help frame some of these things that you guys are starting to see. Because if you don't have a conversation outside of it regarding how it pertains to you, or is it actually true, you may run into a scenario where you don't know if what you've received can actually help you. A lot of people will just get you there, but the goal that you're looking for with moving abroad is sustainability. You don't want to be a person that goes and in 30 days is returning back home. So when comes down to relocation and how to scout and how to scout a country, a lot of it comes back onto what you've maybe heard on this platform. And if you haven't been privy to this information on this platform, let me introduce myself. My name is RJ Mood. I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I moved out of South Florida about 3 years ago, and I have been located for those last 3 years in Medellin, Colombia. Now, I came in a different scenario than a lot of you guys are. I wasn't unfamiliar with the destination I was going to. I was familiar with both the culture and the language and the pace of certain things, and I still had a very high learning curve. There was still a lot to take on, to grasp, to go from vacationing or traveling here for business versus, hey, this is my home now. And a lot of people are in a very unique scenario. They may be people that travel and say, hey, I'm a traveler, so I know what it's like on the other side of CSA. But there's a lot of people that this is their first journey, their first time getting a passport, their first time trying to wrap their heads around what am I even looking for in a country? You woke up in the country that you live in. You don't even know how to shop or date a new country. You're just taking what you can piece together on your way out of the burning house that is America. So these conversations and what we've presented on this platform in January is the 21 days of relocation. It gives you guys the opportunity to have a reality check. 21 days of relocation reality check is designed to say, hold on, before you go sell everything that you own, before you go buying a place in a country that you really haven't spent time in, applying for a visa in a place where you have to show so many different documents and what that looks like. Wait, take a deep breath. I know this is overwhelming, but the opportunity to actually transform your life and shift it a little bit is only what you make it. And scouting a country is definitely not visiting on vacation. I was on a conference the other day and somebody asked me about that. I'm looking into the place that I've always vacationed to. What's the big deal about a scouting trip or a relocation trip? And I said, well, when you are vacationing, you are under certain pressures or non-pressures. Now, the pressures that you could be under are, yes, you are on vacation, and in this little bubble of time, you're able to get America's weight off of you, get your responsibilities off of you. And that's understandable. That's what we do. We get away from all of America's stress or our normal lives. But you guys don't realize that when you're doing that, you are still in a position where you're going to return. Maybe it's 5 days, maybe it's 7 days, maybe you even took a whole month off and said, hey, for the next 30 days, I'm going to, vacate, whether it's you went somewhere or you just did much of nothing because your life is so hustle culture. But when you realize that that vacation that you gave yourself, allowed yourself, saved up time or money to take, that is not a relocation view. You have to still be under the guise of, hey, no matter how long this is, I need to get back to my normal life. I've only have some of my things. I didn't take all of my things and say this is where I live now. I'm returning to my things. So I haven't cut the anchors, the ties that allow me to be in America or keep me there. And a lot of people in this relocation journey don't even realize that one of the biggest things that is difficult in navigating this is actually cutting the anchors, cutting the ties and the anchors. So when I tell you guys that tell me, oh, I'm a traveler, I go all over the place. And I'm saying if you've never gone with the intention or the tourist, the Tuesday glasses of, can I live here? What would my normal life be like? Do I walk to the store? Do I have to go and call a taxi, or do is it a walkable area where I am? Or am I looking for nightlife, or am I looking for clubs in my normal life? You may be looking for that on vacation, and I see a lot of people sell themselves on relocation as if it's their next vacation. People have coined the terms. I want to live my life like it's a vacation. And that phrase is such a loaded phrase because life is life. There's good stuff, there's challenging things, there's ups, there's downs, there's things that make you pause and take in what life has to give you. But to think that as an adult living life on vacation, like even if you had infinite money, you would still want to eventually go home. You wouldn't want to just live on the road all of the time. You would look for somewhere to call home. So when looking at these scouting opportunities, don't sell your vacation as you've done enough research. That's one of the first things. Because unless you've gone there and actually walked and spent time in multiple neighborhoods that weren't the tourist things, done the non-tourist things, went to the grocery store, went to the ATM, you didn't go to what do you call that, a money exchange, because if you live there, that's not normal life. But it's up to you to take these kind of steps and things and resources that we're giving you so that you have a better chance of succeeding. So when you guys are looking and sifting through the information, I saw a comment today that was telling people, and it was like half good and it was like half like, the person was saying some things you should do before you leave. And one of the things that I didn't necessarily agree with was that you should go about getting your visa or your residency before you go. And I say to caution with that, which I mean sifting through all of the information that you get. Because the thought process to get your visa or your residency before you go, okay, so maybe 3 years ago, it wasn't that much money or anything else. I'm not saying it's billions of dollars or even $1 million. I'm not saying that, depending on where you go. But what I am saying is that why would you go get a visa or a residency in a country that you haven't inspected what it is that you expect? You think that it's the best place because you're all in all the chats and you see people on the internet and they're telling you that it's so easy to get your temporary residency or residency. You just should apply now. Go about getting your second passport now, because you never know what's going to happen. And they're true. You don't know what's going to happen. But what I will tell you is the cost of it, the rigmarole, the documents, the everything you need to show to the another government. It is a lot. And there's a lot of investment in time and, money. And for you to think that it would be wise with not spending time in said place in Mexico or Colombia or Panama or any of these places because somebody said, oh, you should go get your visa or your residency first. I told you to hold your horses. You may go thinking that some place in Mexico, Playa, Merida, Puerto Vallarta is the place that you have wrapped around your head is going to be the best place. However, you haven't walked any streets. You haven't gone down there. You haven't figured out which neighborhood you like and which neighborhood you don't like, whether it's the noise levels, whether it's the walkability, whether it's the family friendly vibes or the modernity that you may be looking for. You don't know. You only got what ChatGPT told you and somebody like me or maybe somebody else told you. But for you, the things that matter to you, you're just wishing on a star. You're just hoping that it's everything that it is. Yet you would go spend thousands of dollars in consultation fees and visa processing fees and apostille and translation fees and document fees and FBI background checks. You would go do all of that, get it, and go through all of the paperwork and all of that just to get there and realize that you don't really like the place. So why would somebody tell you to go put those things ahead of the thought process of relocation? Now, I wouldn't say they were looking to mislead you. I tell people oftentimes we take American things, not even just our values. We take American procedures abroad and we say this can work anywhere I go. We go in America, you go get a new lease and an apartment. You're saying, I'm going to sign a year lease. I'm going to sign up for a whole year lease. It's a reputable company. It's a reputable landlord or an owner, whoever it is that you're renting from. I'm going to sign a year lease. And that is traditional in America. Yet similar scenario where I would tell you to hold your horses on going into a scenario where you're putting your visa in your residency before you even walking around on a scouting trip. What I will also tell you is when it comes to these leases and apartment leases and whether or not you're going to be buying property there. Some people are buying property in another country. They really haven't been with their Tuesday glasses on, just their tourist ones. All because that's what they've been trained to do in the United States. Stop. Wait. Now, somebody may have an incentive to sell you these things. There's plenty of people that do. But that incentive and your goals and probability of success are two different things. Can you process and do all of the things that I'm telling you to wait through us? Sure. Yes, you can. But I wouldn't be a good steward of this service to tell you to just jump into the deep end of a country that you don't even know, you don't even understand. It may not be your flavor once on ground. You might not find any synergy in the community that is available to you. The neighborhoods may be a little bit different than what ChatGPT or the person who you followed because their relocation advice was good or it seemed like it was good didn't work out the way you envisioned, the way you planned it. You didn't do the research of knowing when to even arrive, knowing when busy season is, high season, knowing if there's a big event. We just had the Bad Bunny concert, and if you just had looked to move in the last 2 weeks to Medellin, it was probably the worst times because you can't really look too far ahead as far as when looking into these things. The market doesn't really work like that. Could it be available if you want to put money on it today? If not, those are all things that is navigating. But if you just happen to move to Medellin in the last 2 weeks, they saw Airbnb and hotel prices go astronomically high. But you didn't do any research, you didn't do any scouting, you didn't ask anybody. You just jumped out of there because it looked like it was okay. It looked like it was safe. You're thinking about visas and residencies, and you and your American education haven't even been caught up onto how to do this on a global level. You're just getting the weight of America off of you and you're 30 plus years old and you think that you've got it all figured out. I know how to look for a country. I'll just go and give them 6 months of rent up front because that's what is they told me they're going to show it to somebody else and it's my dream place. Get your dream place and maybe the landlord maybe not be a scam, but the dream place is in the middle of a neighborhood that is in the middle of nowhere. Now you've got a visa and a residency, and you've done through all this paperwork just to make sure that somebody else's bill was paid, essentially. And you didn't take care of yourself first. I tell you, work with the people, but do it the right way. Go get the visa. once you know that you really want to be there and know what neighborhood that you want to be in. Go invest into the property. Once you know how the dynamics of the different culture works, what is a good square meter for per foot? These things are important. What do you want in your household? Amenities that aren't maybe standard, but you're saying these are my, I can't live in a house that doesn't have this. How do you know? But people are telling you, go get your visa. I know. You haven't been here, you haven't stepped any foot on here, but go get your visa, go get your residency. This is the smartest thing for you to do. Now, I can talk about that all night, but what do you actually do? How do you actually scout? I tell you to have some soft understanding of what your goals are. Do you want to be a nomad? People say, I'll just get the digital nomad visa and I'm good to go. And I'm like, if it was that easy, the digital nomad visa in many places doesn't accumulate time. And why that's important to you is time, if you're looking to be somewhere long term, is important to you because visas that accumulate time will help you get residency. So where you're no longer having to apply for visas because you are a resident of the place. But that takes a certain amount of time. But the only way you know if you want to stay somewhere long term is actually being on ground, figuring that out. Oh, I'm just going to take my pension and I'll just go apply for the pensioner visa. Well, all of the documents are going to cost you a certain amount of money. And to consider that your passport can get you 90 days, up to 180 days in the calendar year in many of these top expat destination places, it would behoove you to jump around, see it, try it out, go figure it out, go see if it's real, go see if your life is real. I tell all my friends, oh man, RJ, I see you traveling, I see you moving around, I would love to go. My boy Devin, he said, I want to go to like Mexico and maybe even open up a scuba diving spot and just do scuba diving all the time. And I said, well, maybe don't go open the spot yet, but if you got some time, go live that. I go scuba diving all the time and the beach is right there. Go live that life for a couple of months if you can. You can take off for a month or 60 days. Do it and then test it out. See if that life is what you say that you want. Most of you guys sell yourself a dream that you actually don't want to cash. When selecting these countries, you guys are positioning them off of dreams that you really haven't even fully thought out. It just sounds good. You trying to figure out what remote job you have, yet you don't know what you're going to do for work, but you got Thailand all in your mouth. You're looking for United States jobs and you want to move to Thailand as your first opportunity to live abroad. I was talking to a client in Baltimore today, and she's like, I don't know what time it is there. And I'm like, it's the same time as it is right where you are in Baltimore on the East Coast. She said, really? I said, yeah, half the year we're on East Coast. We go spring forward, we'll be on Central Time for the rest of the year until fall. She's like, dang, I didn't know that. And I'm like, so many of you, not her, but so many of you guys don't even know what time it is. And you're scouting countries because somebody says it's a $200 villa and everything else, but you haven't put the full details of what it is that you need together. There was a girl I saw on the internet. She said, I got denied at the border in Thailand because I didn't have $600 in my bank account. And I was like, that is a very far place to be by yourself with all of your stuff and not have 600 USD. That is really important. Yet you guys are following the virality, the TikTok, the things that go viral and thinking this is how I scout a country. They got 7-Eleven in every corner in Thailand. But I don't know how I'm going to make money. I'm going to just go out there with $2,000 and wing it. They're stopping that. They don't want you to be homeless on somebody else's streets. You say, oh, I'm going to be homeless. I've got a kid. I've seen people with poor plans and they've got a family and they've got their whole family out and who knows where on the other side of the TSA, unprepared, overwhelmed. And they're like, I got to go back home with my tail tucked. Everybody told me I was doing it the wrong way and I didn't listen. I don't want that to be you. So when you think about scouting a country, take a deep breath. What am I willing to do? Don't be like, oh, well, where do I want to go where they speak English? Well, some places speak English and that is the native language. But if you think that they're going to go to a non-native language English-speaking place and then you're going to be abundance of English speakers, I don't think that's often in many of the places. And still, you're going to run into the nuance of having to know and learn the local language. So if you don't want to learn another language and only want to speak English. Take that in consideration when you're scouting a country. Some of you guys have these thought process with American and how it is, I guess, benefiting you, but you're still looking to leave. People are like, well, I want to go somewhere where they use the US dollar. Why? Why do you want to go somewhere where they use the US dollar? Because you can't do a little division. I mean, you have a $800+ smartphone in your hands. So you got a calculator, maybe you're really good at numbers. You could divide real quickly. Some things are real easy, 18 to 20 to 1. So you could just round up to 20 and it's around that price. Some places, Colombia, go from 3,500 to 4,000. Division. I know. To learn, but you got to say I want to leave too. So scouting these things, because the place that uses the US dollar may be cheaper than the United States because it's such a premium, but it's not one of the cheapest places. Because can I use my US dollars? I mean, once you start doing that, once you open the door for the US dollars and that being the room and the thing in the room, you don't close that door. So stop asking for these things when you're scouting. You get on the ground when you do go scouting, whether you go on a relocation trip or you go on something that you do freely. Do the right things. Do the right things. You need to scout neighborhoods. These are important to you because not every neighborhood is built the same. Some of them, depending on where you go in these coastal cities, are prone to floods. Some of them don't come with air conditions in the unit. Some of them don't have elevators, depending on where you go. I'm all describing different places in Colombia, but you guys have to understand that this is the nuances that you have to do. You saying that you want to go to a place and you say, I want to go to Medellin. You're like, okay, well, where? Oh, I heard about Parque Lleras. None of us that live down here that have any sense live in Parque Lleras or frequent that place often. But that's all you know. But you're ready to go sell everything and pack all your kids up and say, let's come down to Medellin and see what they have for us. No, stay home. Do more research. Come on a trip that's designed specifically for scouting. Don't come with your whole caravan of stuff saying, I'm here for my scouting trip. Why is all your stuff here? You don't even know if you like this place. This might not be the place for you. I know it sounds good in your head, but this is an opportunity to change your life, to transform it. You're doing elementary things because some guy that you don't know told you that just get your residency. Go get your second passport into a place that you have never even been. Spend the time, the money, and energy and effort because that's what makes sense for their business or bad information. And my job is to try to connect you to good information, the good resources, the good thought processes before you sell everything and end up in the wrong place, not realizing that you can move multiple places. When I first moved to Medellin, I was only going to be here for 3 months. My goal was to say, okay, let me go to see what Medellin has to offer for me. Then I'm going to go see what Playa del Carmen has to offer for me. That was my goal. Those were the two places I had narrowed down to that were on the top of the list and said, oh, cool, I'm going to spend this year looking at that. Well, what happened was I came here for 3 months and said, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. You know why? I thought about it. I said, Playa is a beach city. I moved from Fort Lauderdale. I'm relatively similar to that. Weather, sun, sand, all of that stuff. And I was like, it's probably going to be more so in the party vibe. Here in Medellin, it was a city of eternal spring. There were so many big pockets of neighborhoods where it reminded me of a Latam version of New York. It had its own metro system. There were so many different things to do that weren't just nightlife and clubbing and partying. There was nature. And I said, man, I'm not going to get that there. So I stayed. And then after that 3 months, I decided, knowing what I knew, I am going to go about getting the visa. And it was only, I paid about $650, $700 for two people. Now, now that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Understand how to scout these countries. It costs a lot more. It costs over $1,000 when you add up all the fees and everything else that you have to pay. It costs over $1,000 in government fees and translations and apostilles and healthcare premiums that need to be paid a year ahead to increase the probability of you getting what it is, the time that you want. You guys don't realize that people are just telling you bad information because you don't know any better. That's why I'm here. to give you at least some understanding. So whether or not you pay us to help you with this process, you pay somebody else, at least you know what questions to ask them. Or you don't want to pay anybody, but at least you know what to do. I tell you, this is like it's like a house of mirrors. It changes all of the time. I've got to stay up on the things that I know, and my resources and experts have to stay up on the things that they know because it changes. The year just went up, and the year just changed, and Colombia's minimum wage just went up 23%. So the cost of visas everywhere, the cost of it is increasing. I think the temporary residency, I believe I saw my boy in Mexico saying it's now $4,600 a month. I think it was around $3,000 a month. Last year, Visa and Dojo Nomad in Colombia was like 1,100. I think it's closer to 1,500 now. The cost of this is going up. So why would you spend so much money to be in a place long term and you don't even want to be there once you get there? You're going to be very sad, and then now you're stuck because you may not be a person that is made of money. So you don't have an opportunity to go on a bunch of different scouting trips. So you have to do the right research and the intentful research, everything you can before. I don't know who you are. You may be in one of these scenarios, but the stuff that you have to do, you have to do it. Or, like I said, you're going to be the next person on the Summer Jam screen. You're like, well, what's the Summer Jam screen? The Summer Jam screen is the anonymous participant that is in the group saying, hey, I messed up, y'all. I moved abroad. Please, I'm just looking for help now. I don't have anything. I just need help. All my stuff is stuck in a country that they won't let me in. I sold all my stuff. I've seen multiple people have no longer have a career. They literally got fired from their job because they just were doing stuff that they didn't weren't supposed to do. These things are like absolutely outrageous when you factor in that you guys have never done this, and there's so many people when you are in a position of emotional and you're running out of the United States and you're just making knee-jerk decisions to want to take you for a ride. And I'm saying, hold on before you go booking, even if it's a legit, hold on. Don't call. Don't call me and say I've never been to Medellin and I want to get the visa tomorrow. I'm going to tell you to stop. And what can we do to help prepare you better? Because I don't want you to pay me and you don't like it, because my goal is to have you be successful. I don't want you to use the resources, and because you can get here and be like, yo, you know what? I'm so glad. I actually don't like this place. I would have spent thousands of dollars just thinking the research that I had done was all of what it is that I needed. I said, well, this is why I told you not to do it. And come and see us. Come and walk around. Live the life that you say you want to live. Come live it. You want to come to Colombia? Let's go. Come. Visit. Don't sell everything. Take a deep breath. It is okay not to know, but it's not okay to put yourself in the deep end and then complain about you drowning. Because then people are now in a scenario, it's like, we're here. There are so many people that have to sift through. I do my best to try to bring other people on outside of myself. I'm not the one all, know all, be all of anything. But when I see people telling people to go before they actually go and see and expect what they expect to get a visa and to get their residency, I say, let's pause for a minute. Let's pause for a minute. Today's news is tomorrow's news. It's Colombia today. It's Mexico tomorrow. It's Panama. It's South Africa. It's anywhere this administration could put a dot on it. And it happens to be some of the top expat destinations in the world. So going to go get a visa and putting all your eggs in one basket and going to go buy a house sight unseen and to go put this in thousands of dollars because somebody told you to pay up front for a year lease and that's what you're used to doing. Stop. Start having the conversations that you need to have with yourself. Coming back to conversations like this, we have an entire platform, YouTube at Black Expat Life Abroad, as well as Roots and Routes podcast. There you're going to find hundreds of conversations that are right around these topics. The things that you need to know, things that you need to hear from myself and other people, experts to help people actually move abroad outside of myself. Whether it's Colombia, Mexico, Panama, I've talked to people in Ghana, I've talked to people in Qatar. These things are important for you to be connected to because you are the person that's saying, I want to do it. You're wanting to go take your passport and say, sir, can you let me into your country? I'm really not having a good time in my Do it intentfully. Know where you're going. Inspect what you expect. Understand that you don't know everything, and I don't know everything. It's wise to work well with others in this scenario because that is going to be your lifeline. The hookup, people that have gone down the road that you're saying that you want to go down, yes, it may cost you a couple dollars, but those dollars could save you thousands. This conversation has cost you $0, but your attention, and it could have saved you thousands just having it. Imagine a conversation that is aligned to you. Imagine a conversation, or even better yet, a scouting trip that is aligned to you, what you need to see in said country to determine whether or not you want to live there. You guys have to figure this out. February is coming up very soon. If you guys are still looking to come down, we will be here. Well, we live here, but February 16th to the 22nd, you can still go to moodtravelabroad.com and get your relocation tour tickets. If you happen to live here and don't have the resources, happen to be here and already have it on your calendar, we'll be releasing some details this week. So for our Medellin Relocation Week, where you can get on ground and get to our relocation seminar, get to our neighborhood apartment tours. We're going to be volunteering that month in Community Trace, so that will allow you to see what it is that we do and what you should be doing when you go on a scouting trip, as well as being a part of a community that hopefully accepts you and all of the things that you have going on. So I want to make sure that we bring these conversations to light, hoping you narrow down where it is you want to go, making sure that you do it with intent, and that you do not end up on the Summer Jam screen, the anonymous participant saying, I didn't do it right. You didn't have an opportunity to say, well, I don't know how. If you guys were here, you got some information, some tidbits, some things you can put into your relocation tool bag, your toolkit that is going to be the thing that you reference and say, hey, I remember that bald dude, and he said I was going to need to get these neighborhoods in my head and figure out what community looks like on ground. Maybe I'll meet some friends on this scouting trip if I do it right. But if you don't do it, or you don't do it right, then you'll end up right where you are, back in the United States with the rest of people that are looking to leave but don't know how. Yet this one is going to be a little different, because the sting of leaving and having to return, telltale. That's the thing that these people won't go back onto the radio. The people that you see, and they were influencers are selling master classes about how to move abroad, and they just disappeared. They realize they can't show their face. They got to start all over again, reinvent themselves. Never mind the content creator or anybody. It's more so your success story, your probability of succeeding in what you are saying you want to do, which is relocating. So please, if you have not learned anything, let me tell you this. Do not go get a visa or residency before you have actually done a scouting trip. Stop it. Do not go and applying for passports unless you have already some lineal citizenship there. But these people that are telling you to come here, apply for passport, apply for a visa, apply for a residency, and you haven't spent 45 intentional days on ground, never mind 7 extremely intentional days, they are misleading you, and you are setting yourself up for a low probability of success. The best thing you guys can do is, one, go to moodtravelabroad.com, get all the free resources that we have there. We help people for Colombia, Mexico, Panama, as well as South Africa. We have people on ground. I'm not the doer of all things. I'm just a connector of these things that make sense for you in the relocation journey. The other thing you can do is, if you are serious about moving abroad in 2026, not only that, go to moodtravelabroad.com, but sign up for a consultation. Consultation spends an hour with me, and it gives you an opportunity to get narrowed down, niche down on what your relocation journey is, what it looks like, what it should look like, and where you are. So we give you guys a plan to help navigate you and get you connected to everything that you and your family need. So that way you don't have to jump out of the United States thinking, hey, I just need to run. It's hot. And I realize there's a whole community of people that are here to help. I hope this conversation has helped for you guys tonight. I want to make certain that it has always been something that you can digest, put in your head, put in your relocation toolkit, and make certain that you are doing what it is you can to transform your life. I appreciate you guys. As always, I will see you guys mañana. It has been a pleasure. We are wrapping up the 21-day relocation reality check, headed into Medellin Relocation Week. I am excited. If you guys have been looking to move abroad, this is the place you need to be. Make sure you are either sharing this conversation or subscribing, so that way anytime we go live, you guys know where we are. I'll see you guys soon, and be safe.